Hi y'all, Jason Martinkus here. In today's video, I want to talk about self-intimacy. So you're going to hear us talk, or say a lot. Intimacy is the antidote. Intimacy is the antidote to our struggles. Intimacy is the antidote to our relational issues. Intimacy is the antidote. You'll hear us say that over and over again. And we're talking about intimacy with God, with others, and with ourselves. And so today I want to focus on self-intimacy. And what I want to do is talk about a couple of really practical ways that we can develop self-intimacy or self-awareness, okay? And we're modeling this off of a biblical model of a holistic person, okay? And the idea is we are holistic people who are made up of mind, heart, body, and soul, all right? So that's our framework where we're starting, all right? And the way that we talk about this is in the form of quadrants. So mind, heart, body, and soul. You can do this exercise at any given moment, any time, for any reason, to figure out what's going on with me. Develop self-intimacy, okay? So the idea is this: mind, when we're talking mind, what we're talking about is what's going on with our thoughts. How are we thinking? Is it optimistic? Is it pessimistic? Are we thinking thoughts that are positive or negative? Are thoughts, clear, or is it kind of foggy? Are we sort of foggy today? We can look at this theologically and say, are we operating with the mind of Christ? Are we thinking about people, about situations and circumstances the way that Jesus would? Okay, so what's happening in our thoughts? All right, our heart, what's going on emotionally? Specifically, what am I feeling right now? And sometimes, so guys get hung up on this. There's an acronym in recovery called HALTS: hungry, angry, lonely, tired, sick, sad, scared, ashamed, stressed, that kind of thing. Some of those aren't emotions. So guys will go, what do you feel? Well, I'm hungry. That's not an emotion. I'm tired. That's not an emotion, right? We want to make sure that we're dealing specifically in emotions. So this is, what am I experiencing emotionally right now? Okay? Body is what's going on physically. What's going on physically? Now, I want to talk about this because this is really important. A lot of times our body will give us clues to something going on with us emotionally before we ever feel it. All right? Meaning, sometimes our face will turn red before we feel the emotion of embarrassment. Sometimes our palms will sweat, or our pits will be sweating because we're anxious before we even realize we're feeling anxiety. Or our heart will race and we'll feel like a noticeable jitteriness before we realize that we're nervous or we feel fear. Okay? Our body physically can tell us something's going on. Whether it's in the form of a physical response, like sweating, twitching, shaking, that kind of thing, or it's like we feel sick or nauseous or tension, those kinds of things can all tell us what's going on with us, all right? And then finally, from a soul perspective, this is like, where am I with God? And I think about this from a standpoint of God is always doing something in us, through us, and around us. In us, through us, and around us. And so we think about that like Jesus was on the move, and God was doing something like through him and around him all the time. I don't know that God had to do anything in him per se, because he was God. You follow me. What I'm saying, though, is with us, God is doing something in us, through us, and around us. And so this idea, where am I spiritually at the moment? Like, am I connected to God? Do I feel close or distant? What's God doing in, through, and around me right now? Okay? It's just sort of taking stock of what's going on spiritually at any given moment. Okay? Now, here's the thing. This can tell us something's happened and we're experiencing it now, or it can also be anticipatory. It can be kind of like a warning indicator that something's going on or about to go on. Okay? In either of those things, whether it's because of something or it's in anticipation of something, our self-awareness gives us an opportunity to choose what the next right thing will be. All right, and so let me give you a couple examples. We'll just kind of frame it up so that we're all on the same page. All right, let's say that I just walked out of a fight with my wife. All right, so fight or girlfriend, whatever your situation is. Okay, so we got our quadrants, right? Mind, heart, body, soul. Okay. I'm gonna do that a little bit differently just because I'll take up more space than the box, okay? But here's our quadrant, all right? So in the mind quadrant, all right, let's say I just walked out of a fight with my wife. What am I thinking? I'm thinking vilifying thoughts towards her. I feel like I'm a victim, like she doesn't get it, she doesn't understand me, I feel falsely accused, or I perceive that I'm falsely accused, and I'm feeling defensive, okay? That's over here in the heart side. I'm feeling misunderstood as well, all right? Also in the thoughts, I'm very pessimistic in that place. Let's just say I come out of that fight and I'm not in a hopeful, positive place. I'm in a very pessimistic place. Especially if those conversations are around something that was triggering, or it's about the past and betrayal and stuff like that, right? So I got this stuff going on in my head. I feel defensive, misunderstood. I feel hurt by some of the stuff that she said. I also feel regret for some of the stuff that I said. At this point, I also am feeling hopeless because I don't know how this whole thing turns around. This is just an example, right? Okay, body, what's going on? I feel tension in my neck, right? I've been gritting my teeth. Maybe I'm hot. I feel like I'm overheating. There's just all that physically going on, right? Where is God? I don't know. It sure would have been nice for him to show up in the middle of that conversation and zip my lips so I didn't say some of the stuff I said, or so she wouldn't have said some of the stuff she would have said. I don't know where God is at the moment. Maybe that's your answer, right? And then if you think about it for a minute, you go, okay, well, what's God doing in me? Well, maybe this is an opportunity for him to cultivate empathy for me or in me, and I sort of missed it. I went down the defensive path rather than the empathic path. Okay? So here's a quadrant of what just happened from fighting my wife. And now we're asking the question, what's the next? Not that you can read my penmanship. I should have been a surgeon. Right? Next right thing. What's the next right thing? Based on all this, right? What's the next right thing for me to do? And I don't know. There's no right answer. Right? Maybe the next right thing is to call her and apologize. Maybe the next right thing is practice empathy. Maybe the next right thing is don't do anything. Just let this sit for a little while. Because if you text or call her, it's not going to go well. For you or for her. I don't know. Okay? What's the next right? That's the question we're asking. And when we say this, when I say what's the next right thing, I'm simultaneously asking, what's God calling me to? Right? What's God calling me to? Who is he calling me to be in this moment? Now that this has happened. Okay? That's how we're processing this thing. All right? Let's do another one. Let's talk anticipatory. All right? Let's say that you got a really hard conversation coming up with an employee. Employee combo. Because you have to put them on notice because their performance is below par, and it's one of those kinds of things. And so, what are you thinking? Man, you're thinking how can I be a good leader in this? How can I handle this with diplomacy and tact? How can I also be encouraging to them instead of kind of communicating that this is the beginning of the end, even if it is. How do I be a good leader and all that? Maybe that's where your thoughts are, and they're optimistic in that respect, okay? What are you feeling? You got some anxiety? I'm saying for myself, if I were in that situation, I had some anxiety, how's this going to go? How are they going to take it? They got stuff going on at home, and one of their children was just diagnosed with cancer, and this is not the right time, and maybe you feel you're in a catch-22, and that feels kind of like powerless because somebody above you is saying you got to have this conversation. You follow me there? And then maybe there's also a part of you that feels determined. Like, I am going to step into this place of leadership. And what's going on physically? Pits, sweating, right? Like, whew, I got to have that conversation this afternoon. I already feel like, about it, okay? Maybe you also, over here, you also feel stress with that anxiety. And maybe for you, there's twitch. I'll tell you, for me, when I feel overwhelmed and stressed out, I get twitch in my eyelid. It'll be one or the other, and it's annoying as all get out. And it's indicative of the fact that I'm feeling a tremendous amount of stress, and I'm probably not dealing with it very well at the moment, okay? What's God doing? Where am I with God? Okay, well, I'm going to be prayerful walking into that. I feel like what's God doing in me? Growing character in terms of perseverance, maybe. Maybe kindness. God wants to grow kindness in. And maybe God wants to use me. What's God doing in the other person? Maybe God is growing some self-control in them. And I'm a conduit. I'm a part of that by helping them realize that they can't slack off. They actually got to be dialed in on their work. Can't be on Facebook while you're in your cubicle, whatever. Right? Maybe there's something that I'm a part of God doing in their life. I'm not just the heavy-handed bad guy who's delivering bad news today. Okay? So, in light of that, what's the next right thing? Right? What's God calling me to? What's my call here? And looking at that going, okay, well, yeah, the next right thing is for me to talk to one of my buddies or talk to my boss and just make sure, talk to one of my buddies to get encouragement to go into that situation right and lead well. Maybe it's talk to my boss so that I make sure that I'm on the same page with him and this really is the right next step before that 3 o'clock meeting today. Maybe that's just the way that you engage the word or prayer today as you're leading up to that. What's the next right thing? Maybe the next right thing for you is these are really hard conversations, and the next right thing is close your calendar from 4 o'clock on because you're going home. Because when that conversation is done, you're going to be wiped out, right? What's the next right thing? What's God calling you to? Now, hopefully you're following with me. I want to connect a couple of quick dots, and then we're gonna pivot a little bit, all right? We're going to put some more practical work in here. What I want you to see is these things are all connected to integrity because they're connected to character. They're connected to sexual integrity because they're connected to character. And here's what I mean. If I just had a fight with my wife, I got this stuff going on, I feel all of these things, there's a likelihood that I may want to medicate all that, which might lead to temptation, which might lead me down the path of acting out somehow. And the issue isn't, I've got an open computer or an open iPad with no blocks on it, no covenant eyes on it, or whatever your thing is, right? Maybe the deal is it's less about that, and it's really more about I need to learn to deal with my feeling misunderstood, hurt, regret, and hopelessness. Because if I deal with that well, then it doesn't matter if there's an open iPad in front of me. It's not about that sexual integrity thing isn't about the opportunity or availability. It's about actually my character dealing with what's going on with me. Okay? Same thing here. This would be the kind of situation where a guy might act out at noon in anticipation of that conversation. Or he might act out at 4:30 after he just had that conversation. But if you're actually aware of, if you see that coming and you're connected to what's going on here, and you can decide on the next right thing in advance of having to make that decision, you set yourself up to be a man of character, to live with integrity, to live with honor, so that you don't have to worry about the acting out. Okay, I hope that makes sense. That's how they're connected, okay? Because they're connected in character. Character means I'm going to do the next right thing. That honor means I'm going to do what God is calling me to. I'm going to be who God is calling me to be. Okay? All right, so quadrants. When you hear us talk about quadrants, this is what we're talking about. All right? And if you need to come back and watch this video over and over again so you get it, do, please. Okay? Another thing, this is just a random side note. This is bonus. You didn't even pay for this. If you think about this in the context of like Adam and Eve, think about an Adam, right? Like if Adam were in the garden and he took a time out and he were like, I'm going to do a little quadrants work right here. Eve's over there meandering around that tree and she's like got an apple. She's kind of turning it in her hand, looking at it. And she's got that look on her face. And he's going, man, we shouldn't do this. Thoughts. We shouldn't do this. God said don't do it. This isn't good. I don't like where this is going, right? And emotionally, there's anxiety. His pits are sweating. His eyes twitching. He's like, stuttering. Hey, babe, hold on. Hey, no, come on. Think about, right? Physically, all that stuff's going. Spiritually, like something in his soul is going, don't do it. Right? What if, this is bonus, like I said, all right? This is just kind of the crazy stuff that goes on in my head. What if Adam were able to pause for a minute and take stock of what's going on in him and then go, what's the next right thing? What is God calling me to? Right? And at that point, he like tackles her and knocks the apple out of her hand and is like, no, we're not doing it. Right? I don't know. All right, next piece on this is roles. So, at any given moment, I just gave you two examples. Fight with my wife and a conversation with an employee, right? At any given moment, we all play multiple roles. So in those two, we were husband and we were boss, all right? Authority figure, however you want to say that. Husband and boss. Those were our roles, okay? Husband, boss, all right? At any given moment, we play the part of multiple roles. We're a husband and boss. Simultaneously, we're an employee. All right? We're friend. We're son. We're son-in-law. We're father. We're neighbor. All right? Maybe you're a Christian. I could go on, but let's stop there. So what we can do, and I don't want this to be overwhelming, and I don't want to feel like busy work. That's not the point of this, okay? What I want this to be is a really helpful tool. So at any given moment, we could do quadrant work on any of those roles, and it's actually a really helpful exercise to take stock of those and practice it. And here's what I mean. Let's say that, let's say it's 11 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday, and you are going to do this work. So at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday, you go, you know what? What are the top two roles I'm experiencing right at this moment? And let's say you're sitting at your desk and you just happen to you're thinking about a situation with your kids and you're thinking about a fight with your wife. Well, in this moment, you're primarily a husband and primarily a father. So you could do quadrant work on that as a father. What am I thinking about right now? Well, I'm thinking about how the conversation went with my son. I had really good with my daughter, but I wish it'd gone better with my son. And what do I feel? Hopeful about that, but discouraged about that. What's going on? I don't know, I feel a little heavy, when I think about what's going on with my son. And where's God spiritually? Well, I don't know. Maybe trying to help me become the father he wants me to be and that son needs. And how's that looking? What's the next right thing for me to do relative to my son or daughter? And the same process for husband, right? Maybe it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you just got a call from your mom. And after you hang up the phone, you go, all right, well, what's the top couple of things? Well, number one is son, okay? And maybe something about that connects to your faith journey. So you can take a moment right there and go, get out your journal, draw the quadrants and go, okay, well, what am I thinking as it pertains to son? Man, I'm thinking, I love my mother, but she makes it difficult for me. Or, I wish I had a closer relationship with my mom because I really enjoy her when we talk. She's just not available very much. And so I'm just thinking positive thoughts towards her or negative thoughts. What do I feel? Well, I feel guilty as a son because I don't call often enough. Well, I feel hopeful because our relationship is changing at this season of our lives. I don't know what it is, right? You follow what I'm saying here. What's God doing? Oh, well, God's trying to show me how I honor my mom or my dad at this season of life. So what's the next right thing? Well, that looks like I need to call, or I don't need to call, or I need to send flowers, or I need to, I don't know, invite them to the kids' soccer game, whatever it is. Okay? At any given moment, and it changes moment to moment, right? Right now at 11, you may be more husband and son role. By noon, you may be more boss and Christian. And by 4 o'clock, the most pressing thing may be friend because of something that goes on with a buddy of yours. Right? It changes moment to moment. And the dynamic nature of it means we have to operate embracing that dynamic. We have to look at this, and instead of going, and I'm generalizing here, okay? For a lot of guys, we're only connected to what is immediately pressing on us. And this isn't true across the board. For a lot of guys, we're only connected to what's immediately pressing on us and whatever the first layer of emotion is. And it's important for us to more holistically look at our lives. And the way that we would say that is, we need to look at our lives in an integrative way. And the root of integrative is integrity. We're an integrated whole. At any given moment, I am all of these. Right? At any given moment, I'm all of these. Now, one may be bubbling to the surface at a different time, but just because I'm in husband mode doesn't change that I'm a son. And son could be affecting my husbandship at the moment, and I'm not aware of it. Right? My faith journey could be affecting my fathering and my friendship at the moment, and I'm just not aware of it. So what we're trying to do is become more holistic and integrative in the way that we look at our lives and the way that we're connected to ourselves.